I mean, this is like the luckiest man on the planet. Luckiest man on the planet.
No, at this point, I don't even believe in God, and I think he's been touched by God. There's just no earthly explanation here.
It's
Several legal developments which show that Trump's legal troubles, which threatened to sink him before the election, well, things are actually starting to look pretty good for him. So you may recall that the judge had ruled that Fani Willis was allowed to stay on the Trump election case after it was revealed that she was having an extramarital affair and paying the lead prosecutor, Nathan Wade. Nathan Wade eventually resigned despite still being some swirling allegations and investigations into exactly what was happening between the two of them. But a Georgia appeals court now is agreed to review the lower court ruling that would have allowed her to continue the prosecution of the case. This, quote, is likely to delay the case in the second time as many days that he's gotten a favorable ruling whenever it comes to his legal travails. The next part is, frankly, maybe the most important one out of all of these. We can put this up there on the screen. Ryan and Emily briefly touched on it, but the judge in the Trump classified documents case has completely canceled the original May trial date. No new date set. And Krystal says it will be indefinitely suspended until pretrial motions and other things are allowed to continue. This comes after repeated releases of documents from the Trump team have frankly highlighted some like questionable FBI behavior around like bringing props. You know, the famous photo of spreading out the documents. Now, I'm not saying the photo itself was staged, but apparently the FBI like brought along a lot of different things in order to enhance some of the photo products and some of the other case against Trump. This has then raised more legal questions about how they were handling things, about Jack Smith's own involvement, and enough has now been raised that the judge has been forced to cancel the trial. So the likelihood now of the trial already being set May wasn't going to happen, but the official cancellation and the indefinite suspension, the likelihood of this happening, either of these happening before November, which are the two hands down strongest cases against Trump, Georgia because it's a state case, the documents case because, let's be honest, it's difficult to wiggle your way out of that one. Neither are likely to go to trial before November.
Yeah.
And the January 6th one too, given everything we know about the Supreme Court and all of that, I wouldn't put my money on that one either.
I mean, we have to say this judge has been very favorable to Trump in every way that she could possibly be from the beginning. So she was looking for a way to have this be the outcome, and she found a way. So there you go.
I put my bias out there on the table. I think this whole case is stupid. I do think there's a well enough reasonable doubt now at this point for just one guy to be like, yeah, I think he was just trying to pay her off because of Melania, which is plausible on its face.
Yeah.
You know, at the very beginning.
I mean, I think that's true. Like, I don't think it takes that much to convince people like, yeah, he didn't want his wife to know. Like, it may also have had a campaign. It can also have been a campaign motivation. But if it's just like he didn't want his wife to know, I think this all comes down to who are the jurors? What do they really think? What do they really feel about Donald Trump? I think that's probably what this case comes down to. But even if they find him guilty, like, it's a pretty low-level charge. It's not like the documents one, which is really significant. It's not like the January 6th one or the Georgia one. Those are like quite significant charges that would likely come with quite significant penalties. And it certainly appears that all three of them are probably completely off the table before the election. So this is the only one, and it's a low-level charge. It's very questionable whether he's even going to be found guilty, so we'll have to see. But yeah, I mean, this is like the luckiest man on the planet. Luckiest man on the planet.
No, at this point, I don't even believe in God, and I think he's been touched by God. There's just no earthly explanation here.
It's really
at this point, I don't even believe in God, and I think he's been touched by God. There's just no earthly explanation here.
It's
at this point, I don't even believe in God, and I think he's been touched by God. There's just no earthly explanation here.
It's
at this point, I don't even believe in God, and I think he's been touched by God. There's just no earthly explanation here.
It's
at this point, I don't even believe in God, and I think he's been touched by God. There's just no earthly explanation here.
It's
at this point, I don't even believe in God, and I think he's been touched by God. There's just no earthly explanation here.
I mean, this is like the luckiest man on the planet.
Luckiest
man on the planet.
No,